Am I allowed to wear sunglasses?
Yes.
It also makes it look like you're all glowing with these ones, so it's quite nice.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Ruth Johnson, Ruth Lyder Johnson, actually. My husband's here, my baby as well, and my mum and my youngest brother. Most of you will have known my dad, Andy, who passed away on the 25th of May, 2020. I'm sure those of you who know people who've passed, it can feel simultaneously like it was yesterday and also like an age ago at the same time. And I was actually also quite nervous to speak today because I'm aware that everyone's in their own, on their own journey when it comes to grief, and there's no right or wrong way to deal with it. So I wanted to be sensitive but also honest. So there was a lot of weight. I felt like there was a lot of weight to what I was going to share today. And in the build-up to today, like I argued with my friend and then had a bit of a tantrum last night, and that always seems to happen before kind of like something like this. So, and I've not spoken publicly for a while, so I feel a little bit on edge, but hopefully there's something you can pull from what I'm sharing today. Around the time of my dad's passing, I was working as a nanny for a really wealthy family. And it was the kind of wealth that I'd never seen before in my life, and it was a really eye-opening experience for me. I was the kind of person always really curious about the rich and the famous, and always kind of imagined what that life would be like. And in some ways, I resented my family for not having money, quite a few times actually. And my dad would even apologize to me and be like, "I'm sorry, I'm not a rich man." And he would say this quite frequently to me. But the children I worked for wanted for nothing in terms of material, like really nothing. I remember I was working at the height of COVID, and the dad asked them, "So, where do you want to go when all of this is over?" Bear in mind, they've been traveling anyway. We were all like on lockdown, but they were very freely traveling. And they said, "We want to go to the Amazon rainforest." "Okay, we'll go." You know, it was this kind of life. And there was private jets and helicopters and organising like £10,000 parties for a 10-year-old. Like really the kind of thing I'd never experienced. And I even was asked to wrap up a Christmas gift of Lego, but it had to be built, because it would cause him stress to build it. Like it was kind of like a world I'd never witnessed before ever, and like kind of a joke actually. Like you could make a sitcom, but I had to sign a non-disclosure, so I can't do that. But I don't know if this is being live streamed or whether I'm going to get sued or something. But anyway, so this father had the means to give them anything they wanted, but he was really unable to love. And actually everybody in his vicinity hid. It was like really like an upstairs, downstairs kind of scenario, if you've seen like period dramas where all the slaves, or not slaves, servants are hiding in the basement, or like, it was really like that. And I remember actually specifically, so he didn't live with the mother of the children I nannied. She was a girlfriend, he had many suitors and women dipping in and out of the house. And their dog had pooed outside his bedroom door, and he was inside the bedroom, and I knew if he came out and stood in that poop, all hell would break loose, right? So I was like scurrying around whilst trying to nanny these children who all had like ADHD and like these really crazy kids. And I ran down to the housekeepers, "Look, there's a poo outside his door, you've got to clean it. You deal with it." And they slammed the door in my face. I'm like, like trying to clean up this poo, and like, it was just really kind of like a crazy whirlwind of an adventure somehow. And so on the outside, like these children really had everything, but I felt really deeply sorry for them because they were like love orphans actually. And I really made a determined effort when I was there to like, okay, these nannies dip in and out. They had 4 nannies at this point. We all did like rota shifts, and the nannies shifted and changed because it was such a taxing job. And I decided, okay, the time I'm here, because I wanted to stay until I secured a mortgage, for the time I'm here, I will make sure that these kids feel loved in some small way. And hopefully, when they're older and they see me get on the bus or something, if they ever travel on a bus, they'll think, "Oh, I remember her, and she at least was meaningful to me in some small way." And even though, they had all these things, and I feel like sometimes, at least as a young parent myself, like I feel like we live in Sutton and there's lots of grammar schools and people are really into extracurriculars and things, and you think, okay, this is the kind of life I want to give my children. It's like, as long as they can do piano, as long as they get to do ballet, you know, will we get to go on a holiday every year? These things kind of become you can become a bit fixated on these things and what you want to give your children. But actually, like, my eyes were really opened, and that actually if it's void of love, then it's really just like a hell situation, actually. And it was really like a Scrooge scenario. Like, you know the scene where, like, he's passed and he's viewing everyone in his home, and they're all discussing who's going to take what from his bedroom. And I remember being with the children, and they were discussing who would take what house when their dad died. Because he had, like, several properties. And these were, like, 12-year-old kids. Oh, I'll get the one in Miami. And I was just sat there like, wow. Like, maybe they were joking, but still to kind of talk about your dad's passing like that, you know, it was just, really eye-opening for me. So, I would call my dad every night when I was going home from work, when I wasn't sleeping in the house, and I'd cry to my dad, like, Dad, this is really hard, like, because it was really quite hellish. I had stuff thrown at me, and I had to eat my food next to the dog kennel and stuff like this. Like, it was actually quite, there's a lot of this stuff going on, like, when you're, like, the help or whatever, you know. And it was really humbling for me and, like, trying for me to witness it and to be part of it. And to nanny in a way that I didn't agree with morally, right? Because there was a lot of deceit going on, a lot of like sneaking sweets, because the dad hated sweets, but the mum would give them sweets and lots of things like this. Even one time, actually, he had another son with another lady, and he had a nut allergy. So he then made a rule that in every single house you weren't allowed any nuts. But this mum would sneak nuts into the house. So one time, they were like, he's coming. Everyone was in a blind panic, he's coming. And then the housekeepers were cleaning the house, and then they shoved all the peanuts in a bin liner, and this person's running down the stairs into the basement to hide this stash of peanuts, because God forbid he find a stash of peanuts. So, anyway, I'd call my dad on the way home and cry to him. And actually, when I found out that Dad was really ill, I was actually on one of their estates, where they travel like to this estate. And I remember just like sort of falling to my knees while surrounded by pruned hedges and like immaculate gardens. So I was in some like a utopia in some ways, but in my own hell. And it was such a, you know, being driven, they drove me in their like Range Rover to the hospital, and it was like, I don't know, it was such a strange sort of situation to be in. And then after I got the keys to the house, that, you know, I remember just crying, because it was like, wow, like Dad was there at the start of this journey, he's not here to see this moment. Now becoming a mom, I feel like life transports you, and you kind of step into a new phase, and then a new wave of grief kind of overcomes you, because you're like, okay. So my dad held me like this, or he used to tell me how he used to rock me and walk all around Lancaster Gate up and down the stairs to put me to sleep. And these images come to me often when I'm nursing her, and I feel very like sad, and like he's not here. Even though I know he's here, because I feel it. And I feel like if you were to tell somebody of the experiences you have with your loved ones who've passed, it may be not be big enough for it to be meaningful to them if you told them, oh, I saw a robin and it landed near me and I felt my dad. Do you know what I mean? It's these small little fragments, small little things, and you realise, oh, he's there, or she's there, or whatever. So I wanted to share an excerpt from a little like diary entry I wrote. This was a year after Dad passed, 26th of May 2021. Yesterday last year was when my heart broke into 1,000 tiny pieces. I've been doing my best over the past year to find those pieces and to put them back together, but some fragments are too small and sharp to gather up. I've never done life without you, and I don't know what life is without you. I'm not sure I want this life without you. Happy moments can't be shared with you, and tragedy must be dealt with alone. I'm doing my best to move forward and take each day as it comes. I feel you're around me, and I know you are saddened by your family's distress. I want for you to feel free to pursue great things and not to worry about me. The pain ebbs and flows. Sometimes there's a torrential downpour, and at others a painful twinge that I feel at my fingertips. It is something I carry with me everywhere. I often wonder what invisible wounds passers-by carry in their hearts. Are the wounds fresh? Are they beginning to heal, or are they now scarred over? Who did they love and who did they lose? The truth is that human beings encounter death every day. It is, of course, something none of us can avoid. One thing that has remained continuously apparent since that fateful day, however, is that there is one gift we can give that makes our eventual passing easier for our loved ones to manage. It isn't some trinket box with a small locket hidden inside, nor some otherworldly possession. It is, of course, love. There is the sentiment that love is free, although I would agree that the beauty of love is that one can't buy it. I would argue that to say love is free implies that love is easy, but I don't believe that to be the case. We might feel a sudden rush of love when witnessing the heartfelt laugh of a child, or perhaps whilst gazing into the eyes of a lover. But real love, that persistent, unwavering love, that is not easy. And yet that is what I keep reflecting on. It's the deep love I felt from you that has anchored me in a safe little nook even after your passing. I feel protected even though you're no longer physically with me. This love is not easy. I am not always easy to love, and yet you continue to give. Even after doors were slammed in your face and profanities hurled as a teenager, even after I continued to use my hurt as an excuse to be hateful, you still loved me. When the eventual and inevitable day of our own passing comes, those that love and care about us will suddenly be plunged into sheer and utter chaos. Although we will not be with them physically to pull them out of that abyss or to pick them up and carry them, what will remain with them is an inner strength to keep on moving forward. Our love for them and their strong conviction in this love will fire up an engine and help them navigate this new life with us no longer there to hold their hand. You held my hand. You held it tight whilst I learnt to take my first steps on this earth. And you continue to encourage me and support me until the very day you passed. It is with the conviction that one is loved, that one finds the strength to keep moving forward, one step in front of the other. And this is a short children's story. I've been sort of looking into books for my baby, and I stumbled upon this one. I think I'm being told to hurry up, hopefully. The Invisible String by Patrice Cast. Liza and Jeremy the twins were asleep one calm and quiet night. Suddenly it began to rain very hard. Thunder rumbled until it got so loud that it woke them up. "Mummy, Mummy," they cried out as they ran to her. "Don't worry, you two, it's just the storm making all that noise. Go back to bed." "We want to stay close to you," said Jeremy. "We're scared." "You know we're always together, no matter what," said Mum. "But how can we be together when you're out here and we're in bed?" said Liza. Mum held something right in front of them and said, "This is how." Rubbing their sleepy eyes, the twins came closer to what Mum was holding. "I was about your age when my mummy told me about the invisible string." "I don't see a string," said Jeremy. "You don't need to see the invisible string. People who love each other are always connected by a very special string made of love." "But if we can't see it, how do we know it's there?" asked Liza. "Even though you can't see it with your eyes, you can feel it with your heart and know that you're always connected to everyone you love. When you're at school and you miss me, your love travels all the way along the string until I feel it tug on my heart. And when you tug it right back, we feel it in our hearts," said Jeremy. "Does Jasper the cat have an invisible string?" Liza asked. "Sure he does," said Mum. "And best friends like me and Lucy?" asked Liza. "Best friends too." "How far can the string reach?" "Anywhere and everywhere," said Mum. "Would it reach me even if I were in a submarine?" "Deep in the ocean?" asked Jeremy. "Yes," said Mum, "even there." "Or a mountain climber?" "Even there." "A dancer in France?" "Even there." "A jungle explorer?" "Even there." "How about an astronaut in space?" "Yes, even there." Then Jeremy asked quietly, "Can my string reach all the way to Uncle Ben in heaven?" "Yes, even there." "Does the string go away when you're mad at us?" "Never," said Mum. "Love is stronger than anger, and as long as love is in your heart, the string will always be there. Even when you get older and can't agree about what movie you want to see, or what games to play, or what time to go to bed. All right, you two should be in bed." And with that they all laughed as Mum chased the twins back to their beds. Within a few minutes they fell asleep, even though the storm was still making the same loud noises outside. As they slept, they started dreaming of all the invisible strings they have, and all the strings their friends have, and their friends have, and their friends have, until everyone in the world was connected by invisible strings. And from deep inside, they now could clearly see that no one is ever alone. And I'll just end with a quote from True Father. "You must find the source of strength within yourself to move forward every day. Moreover, you cannot do these things all by yourself. You cannot succeed with your own power alone. You need the help of your friends, your teachers, and God. The material world ends at some point, as does the world of knowledge. The world of power can be destroyed in a second, but the world of heart is endless.
Hence, we need to act based on a world of heart. And another one, we receive our lives in love, live by sharing love, and return into the midst of love. It is important that we live our lives in a way that we can leave a legacy of love behind us. Thank you.